Alright everyone, today I'm going to be hitting and trying out all the new Mizuno JPX921 irons. I got the tour head, I got the forged head, and I got the hot metal head here. If you're interested in the new Mizuno irons and how a professional golfer tests new irons or get fitted for new irons, then stay tuned. I got TrackMan here to give me exact numbers on all the different heads and gonna give you guys a little bit insight to what I'm looking for in an iron. So let's get to it. So before we get going, I'm quickly going to cover what I'm currently playing. I'm currently playing the MP20s in my 9-iron through 6-iron. This is more of a blade design and it really helps me to control the trajectory and the launch. I like to launch my higher irons a little bit lower because it helps me to control the distance. But then in my lower irons, I actually move into the HMB model, the MP20 HMB model in my 5-iron to 2-iron. The reason that I move into the HMB model is because this launch a little bit higher so I can get a little bit higher trajectory on my lower irons. That's very important for the tournaments that I'm mostly playing where the conditions are a little bit firmer. So if you have a little bit more height into the greens, the ball will stop quicker. And they also love to tuck pins behind bunkers in the bigger tournaments. So this helps me to get the ball up in the air a little bit more. I still feel like I can control the distance pretty well. So this set has been really good for me so far this season, but I'm very excited to try the new JPX models, and I'm also curious to see if I'm gonna play a straight model throughout the whole set or if I'm also gonna move into more of a combo set. So I got each model here in pitching wedge, 7-iron and 4-iron, so we can test both wedges, mid irons and long irons in each set and really compare which heads that fits me the best. So we got TrackMan here. We're gonna split each head up so we can compare them afterwards, but let's start out with the wedges. Okay, so let's have a look at the numbers here. The white markings are the tour head, the purple one, the hot metals, and the yellow one, the forged model. First of all, the tour head went slightly shorter, slightly lower ball speed, but went fairly straight. I was able to control the launch angle around 23 degrees pretty much on every shot. Very similar spin rates around 9,000. So that's very good, very consistent club. Went slightly shorter, just under 130 yards. We have limited flight balls here on the range. It is normalized, but it does go a little bit shorter still. So this is quite significantly shorter than what I normally hit a wedge. Then we have the hot metal one that performed surprisingly well, but you can see a lot of differences in especially the spin rate here. This one had 6,000 spin rate, then 8,000 and 9,000. So generally lower spin than the tour head. Fairly good dispersion, pretty good. And then surprisingly the forged head went the longest. We can look at the speed here. I swung this one at 81. I swung this one actually faster. So they're all pretty much similar speed. This one was the fastest, 82 here I think. Yeah, 82, and that's the tour head and went shorter. So forged head, this one I slightly pulled. Face angle was a little bit close, but I really like these numbers. If you look at these two at least, consistent spin, consistent launch, fairly low launch. So the forged head I really liked. It went straight except for one miss there, and consistent launch and spin. So surprisingly well with the forged head. The tour head went straight, a little bit shorter. Hot metal, just too much of a difference in spin I think for a pitching wedge. So let's move on to the 7-iron. Okay, so let's move into the 7-iron. We got the tour head here. First of all, you can see very consistent distance and spin rate. Goes a little bit shorter than the other two clubs here, but good launch, good spin, a consistent club for sure. Definitely a lot shorter than I normally hit my 7-iron. Hopefully that's because of the range balls. And then we move into the forged head here. You can see about 500 RPMs less spin which equals to more distance for sure, but still fairly consistent distance, very good dispersion. And then we move into the hot metal head, and it's hot for sure, and definitely a lot less spin and higher launch, and therefore it goes longer, but still the distance control is fairly good, dispersion is fairly good. So far the forged head is definitely probably my favorite. Spins a little bit less, but it's still very consistent in dispersion and distance control. So let's move into the 4-iron. Okay, so let's move into the 4-irons. First of all, the tour head, very consistent launch, very consistent spin, and great distance control. A little bit shorter than the other models though. If you move into the forged head, a little bit longer, a little bit less spin, but I was also able to hit my little fade here, which is a shot that I've been working on a lot, that I like. I hate the left miss, and with the forged head, you can see in both 4-iron, 7-irons, and pitching wedges, I was able to hit a fade and not missing it left. So if you're just looking at this, the forged head is definitely allowing me to hit my type of shot shape better, and pretty good spin and distance numbers. And then we move into the hot metal head, and it's definitely hot. Bombs here, no spin, massive distance. Yeah, I mean, this is not probably gonna hold a very firm green, but most courses don't have firm greens, and if you want a little bit more distance, this is your club. It might be a great club for a driving iron. I'm definitely gonna test that out later, but yeah, those are the 4-irons, these are the 7-irons, and these are the wedges. So let's talk about this. Okay, so in recap, after today's initial testing with TrackMan, the best option for me is definitely the JPX921 forged head. I wouldn't expect that. I would have thought that the tour head would definitely be the best option for me, and I think a lot of other people would have thought the same. But if you look at the data here, first of all, I was able to hit my preferred shot shape, which is a slight fade, the best with the forged head. You can see the dispersion here is, all of them is just to the right of the target line, which I love to see. I hate to see the left miss, which popped up a couple of times with the other sets or the other heads. And the distance control and the spin rate was really good with the forged head too. I think one thing that really made a difference is when I looked down at the forged head, it looked very big and forgiving, and that made me swing a little bit harder at the golf ball. And when I swing a little bit harder at it, my pad tends to go a little bit more left, which helps that fade. When I was, for example, looking down at the 4-iron with the tour head, it looked really small and thin. So I think I got a little bit more hesitant there to really swing at it, and the pad moved out a little bit to the right, and I closed the club face and missed a couple left. But I didn't do that with the forged head, which is very important for me. Obviously the hot metal head went the longest, but I don't think I'm gonna be able to hold greens with such a low spin rate, especially not with the longer irons. It might be a great club for a driving iron, who knows. But next up, we're gonna try all these clubs on the golf course to hit them from different turfs, the fairway, the rough, and so on. But right now, the JPX921 forged head is the front runner. So we will see how it performs on the golf course. So stay tuned for the next video when I bring all these different clubs out to the course.